Hello everybody and welcome to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I am here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. Well, you guys, I am back to talk about a scene in the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is actually an episode from a few weeks back, but it has been such a highly requested scene and something that I wanted to cover. This is the scene at that Arizona house in the middle of nowhere. It actually looked like a vacation that I would love to take, but it was just sort of a strange place. They basically went from Utah to Utah. This season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has not been my absolute favorite. I think all of us are pretty involved in the Jen Shah of it all. Personally, I think it would have been such a great cast trip since she had to go to New York anyway. Why didn't they all just accompany her? That would have been really interesting to see these ladies in New York City, especially with the backdrop of Jen going there to meet her attorneys. All of that aside, I thought this scene was just really funny and fun to break down from an editorial standpoint. So if you are ready, let's get right into it.
Taken the brunt of so much. All I have is John, Jack, and Henry. That is all.
Okay. So we come up on this, establishing shot of the house. Any establishing shot is to sort of bring us in this is where we are right now. And then we hear Lisa's voice and we see her breaking down with this very dramatic, very Real Housewives line.
I have taken the brunt of so much.
And then we get the reaction shots of Meredith and Jen and then of Heather, and all of those reaction shots to me are just so telling. It's kind of like when someone's really breaking down and you're like, I want to support them, but I'm not putting an arm around them quite yet. I'm also not totally supportive of how dramatic this has gotten. In my opinion, you guys tell me what you think. I believe personally that Heather is laughing through this entire part with Lisa Barlow, and I do not think the editors are doing a very good job of covering up her laughing. Let's keep going.
That is all I have. That is all I have.
Okay.
John, Jack, and Henry.
So you see right there, as she's saying, this is all I have, you see Heather shaking her head, and then she's doing the telltale sign. They definitely, as the editors, could have just punched straight in and kept that really tight shot on Lisa, but they got that Heather stuff in, and I honestly just think it was a nod to show us, the audience. It's a bit dramatic in the moment. Imagine being there in this moment with no music going on behind it. Imagine how crazy that would feel, sitting in that room while she's screaming.
That is all I have.
I'm not mad at it. I absolutely love it, but it feels a little bit over the top. Imagine that going on with no music underneath. Wow, wow, wow.
Henry are my everything. And for someone to try and hurt that is disgusting. I need to call my husband. I have to go. No.
And not that I'm not saying that she wasn't upset, but it's a little bit much. Don't you guys agree? I think she's being authentic. That's what I kind of love about Lisa Barlow, is she rides that line between delusional, authentic, she sort of plays a villain, but she doesn't want to be a villain. She's not playing at it in any way. I think Lisa Barlow is a supreme housewife. Don't come for me, because I truly will defend it to the day I die.
No. All you have is your family. Well, guess what?
So another thing that I wanted to point out was the fact that they are recycling her cries a little bit. Unless I'm wrong and her cries sound exactly the same. So she did probably one cry and then they just copy and pasted that so it sounds like she's continuing to cry. It's an editing technique. It's something that you can use to sort of fill in sound. Most of the time the audience doesn't really realize it, but of course I'm, breaking this down in a more technical way. I believe they recycled and doubled up her cries in both those moments.
Well, guess what? Literally all I have is my husband and my kids. Everything's been taken away from me. Everything. I don't have anything else, you guys. Way to go, cuz.
Okay, so now Jen is, obviously Jen is definitely in pain. I would say the pain feels a little bit like it goes a little bit deeper with Jen, but still a very dramatic thing. Again, take away the music and picture it in your head happening. super dramatic. But the ladies in these reactions do seem a little bit more, Meredith goes over and puts her hand on Jen's shoulder. Like there's a little bit more comforting going on. What Jen is saying really has a little bit more resonance and a little bit more weight than what Lisa was saying.
Really knocked it out of the park on this one. We've taken an already frantic, stressed out woman.
I don't have anything else.
And
okay, so I love how they broke up Heather's confessional there. She says,
we've taken an already frantic, stressed out woman.
Now, if they just had let her keep going in that confessional talking, we as the audience might be like, wait, is she talking about Lisa Barlow? Because Lisa Barlow was just stressed and having a meltdown. Like there's so many people we could, point to, but they just do a quick clip back to Jen.
I don't have anything else.
And it's like reminding us, like, this is the stressed out person she's talking about.
And upped the ante.
Meredith, look at me. I owned the things that I said.
Well, not exactly, because you created a little confusion there with her thinking I said that.
I did not create confusion.
So I love how they use that knife sharpening sound there, almost like a realization for Whitney. Whitney's like, I owned it. Meredith's like, actually, not really, because you confused everyone. And then Whitney's face is sort of like, and then they do that knife sharpening sound. I think that's so funny. It's comic relief, but it's also like giving us an audience a feeling of what's going on inside her brain. Like, oops.
Create confusion. I said.
Created a little confusion.
Did I?
You did.
Well, that's what.
Created some confusion,
Then go
Meredith. You're
clear it
absolutely
up.
right.
Go
Clear it up.
Okay, so Whitney to me is a bit, unhinged this season in a good way, and also I believe in this scene was majorly overserved, and that moment to me right there is just so funny where she's like
Confused.
Did I?
trying to defend herself, and then she's like,
Then go
Meredith,
clear
you're
it
absolutely
up.
right.
Go
Clear it up.
go fix it. It's just so funny to me. And then as Meredith's walking away, they cut back to Whitney again, and she's nodding her head like, yeah, go clear it up. Yeah, you got this. It's like, wait, you created it, so shouldn't you clear it up?
You don't get to come in here. I want you to go.
Okay, so the music is sort of has that suspenseful, sort of driving type tone to it. As Meredith opens the door, you hear this big knife sharpening sound. As she sort of enters the door, you hear a second one, a sharper one, a quicker one.
You don't get to come in here.
To me, what had so much weight to it was the fact that Lisa said,
You don't get to come in here. I want you to go.
Lisa to me is the one who will always want the camera time. Even if she's serious about something, she's always going to be like down for some camera time, which I respect in a housewife. But the fact that she doesn't want Meredith in there and doesn't want to talk to her and doesn't want to do this, to me signals to me like, whoa, this was really serious. This moment was really serious for her. Not that I didn't think it was serious, but like she's serious enough to not want the cameras in there. Oh, some big stuff is going down.
I want you to go. I want you to go. I want you to go. You're not my friend.
I listen to you.
No, I want you to go. I have nothing to say to you.
Okay.
I have nothing to say to you.
I want to say one thing to you, and I want to clear something up. I did not say anything other than the fact.
Okay, so she basically is like, no, I'm coming in here anyway. The camera follows her in. And then I don't know if in that same moment, there's another camera person behind that camera, and then they go around and they get coverage of her talking from the other side. These are the things I want to know, but these are the things I notice. Because it started just on her back, and now all of a sudden they have the other side. So it tells me that there was a little bit of conversation before they got to the part where, you see her full face, because there had to be time at least for another camera person to run around to capture her face. Does that make sense, you guys?
There are rumors out there, and I didn't know if they were true or false.
You know that
I
they're
didn't
not.
say.
Yeah.
Let me finish. I did not say that whole thing that Whitney's talking about. She said I knew nothing about it. She will. Okay, she'll answer you right now. I knew nothing about it.
Okay, so they obviously have a camera person in the hallway waiting for them to come out. You can see that person and maybe a producer right there in the mirror. I always love getting glimpses of them in the mirrors. I'm like, oh, our people, there they are. Lisa's bringing Meredith back out to the table to sort of clear things up, if you will. This scene, it feels dramatic, but it also, to me, just feels a little bit put on with the drama. They're putting a lot of music in there, a lot of the sound effects, a lot of the knife sharpenings. Like they're needing to add to this a little bit because Okay, when they have a really good season of any franchise, less music, less sound effects, less anything to sort of like paint on top of the drama is needed because the drama is real. Anytime the conversation has some real kind of drama to it or some real, tea, they just use very minimal stuff. Here, this, I don't know about you guys, but this whole fight and kind of this whole season of Salt Lake City, there just feels like a lot of stuff that's like being really blown out of proportion. So we as the audience, we care, but at the same time, we don't really care. To me, Housewives is like dessert. I love watching my girls. It's like having a popsicle for dessert when I see this type of scene, which is like, popsicles are great. They're really good. They're sugar. They're all of those things. But I don't have a popsicle and then I'm like, oh, I just feel great for the rest of the night. Like this to me is like, it's sweet. It's good. You're getting some drama. You're getting some ladies yelling at each other and some laughs. But like, it doesn't have much weight because it's crazy. It's a crazy conversation. Everyone's all over the place. Whitney doesn't know what she's saying. She's trying to make something out of nothing. If you were watching the scene and you felt like you checked out a little bit of the drama, I don't blame you. And honestly, you can tell that the editors and producers and everyone, they kind of feel the same way because there's tons of music and effects being put on this stuff.
Out it until she told me. So I couldn't have said it.
Hey, Whitney, Meredith just came in my room and said she heard rumors, but she said you brought up the...
Okay, my favorite part is, first of all, watching how gorgeous is Meredith? Like, all these ladies are so gorgeous, but walking down the hall, she's just so gorgeous. And then he sees like producers and camera people like peek out and then they're like, oh, I'm on camera. They kind of step back.
Rumors and names.
I did not.
Okay.
Meredith came to my home. I invited her over.
Talk to her about it then.
Meredith, you can't trust me? I'm not the one going from house to house talking about you behind your back.
Can we just pause? Like mental health pause for a second.
Did you engage in...
So this music right here is sort of like a vamping music.
Meredith?
To me, they usually use this music when like new information is coming in, it's vamping, it's suspenseful, right? But like there's no real information being coming in here. Sometimes when the music is like leading us one way, but we're not actually seeing what we want to see, it can leave us feeling very empty. Now, I don't blame the editors because what other choice do they have? Like take music out of the scene, shorten it a lot. Like I'm sure there's a lot of things that they probably wanted to do, but to be honest, like Salt Lake City just doesn't have a ton this season, in my opinion, in terms of storyline and plot and even character development. So things like this where it's a blowout, they have to make it long. They have to make it a whole 10, 12 minute sequence because they just don't have a ton of stuff. So the editors are doing everything they can. Like if you guys, this is what I picture is like the editors just being like, okay, we'll throw in the suspenseful music. Like I need a knife sharpening. No, I need 2 knife sharpenings. I need more. We need to make this a scene feel like something's actually happening, but what can they do?
The negative conversations about me and my family. If the answer is yes, you're at fault too. It doesn't matter who brought it up first. Did you shut it down or did you engage? Because that's your answer right there.
Whitney, can I talk?
Whitney, please sit down. Just sit right here. Whitney, it's not
I'm
that
trying
answer.
to-
Yeah,
I
just
know.
sit,
I'm
baby.
trying to help
I know
her.
you are. You're not. Just drink.
I want to tell you.
Okay, so they put the subtitles over there where she says, just drink. It's kind of like a comical moment. That's why they put the subtitle there. They're like, we have to make sure that people hear that because it's funny. Like, first of all, Whitney, I think she's been overserved enough. I don't think she necessarily needs more. But Heather is also, that's like a character trait of Heather that they want to leave in. Heather's always kind of pushing food, telling people like, oh, watch my food, just have a drink, sit down, everyone relax. She's like got a little mom energy of the group and we love that about her.
What I said, which was that there are rumors that pertain to basically every area of your life that you spoke about mine.
Okay, so music was out while Meredith's talking, and then as soon as she says the line,
Every area of your life that you spoke about mine.
we get a knife sharpening sound, which just to emphasize, she's basically saying like, there's stuff out there about you and you're talking about me, like basically don't throw stones in glass houses or whatever the thing is.
I did not speak to any specific rumors. However, I should have just not said anything at all.
Thank you.
I was trying to understand what was going on, and I should have said nothing, and I apologize.
Thank you.
That was so strange. That giant knife sharpening sound when she says,
And I apologize.
Lisa's face is almost like offended, the fact that she said sorry, because it takes her out of her victimhood. She can't keep complaining about this because she's the one who's saying, like, Meredith, even though I've said sorry, Meredith won't forgive me or won't let it go. So now Meredith said sorry, so now Lisa has to what? Let it go. And honestly, that look on her face tells me that she's like, I'm not done. I'm not done. You're not supposed to apologize that quickly and that nicely and that like maturely. I'm not done being the victim. How dare you?
Thank you. I accept your apology. But every single
There it is. There it is. So I accept your apology, but there's more. There's more for me to be victim to, and let me elaborate. And that's what I love about Lisa Barlow. She is a supreme housewife.
it's a pile-on, and I take the brunt of everything. When you had problems with her, I got it all.
Okay, so what they did with the sound here, because we have two conversations going on. We have the crazy conversation of Lisa and Whitney above, standing up, and then we have the kind of aside with Heather and Jen Shaw, and she's whispering to her, but they turned up her mic so we can hear it. And then they turned down the girls who are standing up, who are yelling. They also put subtitles on there so we can hear even more of what Heather's saying. We're obviously supposed to be more focused on what Heather's saying than the girls, Lisa and Whitney, talking.
It's not good for my kids. It's not good for my husband. This is not good for them. Like, when I'm absorbing so much, I'm an empath. I absorb it all.
Why don't you take a couple minutes, take a couple deep.
So she's snapping and keep going, and we're a little bit more engaged with the Heather and Jen of it all, because I believe they're sort of representing us in this moment, sort of like, wow, this is madness going on. This trip was supposed to be about Jen. What is even going on? And honestly, I think that's just sort of an anchor for us as the audience, because we are like, what is going on exactly? Who's mad at who for what? And what, like, why is this madness? It doesn't make sense to us.
Well, deep breath, and I'm coming to check on you in 4 minutes. I don't know why I said 4. Not 3 and not 5, but 4.
Okay, so they left no music there, as Meredith goes through their 4 minutes, 5 minutes, that sort of thing. After she says, I don't know why I said 4, we get a little knife sharpening sound.
I don't know why I said 4.
Kind of a comedic thing.
I feel like you won't budge.
I won't budge on what?
I gotta use the bathroom.
You are the one who said that you have heard.
So as Whitney goes in on this situation once more, where everyone feels like they're taking crazy pills, then Jen's like, I'm leaving. It is, again, sort of like an anchoring to us as the audience. This is craziness. I'm out of here. That's the vibe to it. And also, we need to, as an audience, kind of know where all of our players are. If they just continued with the scene and didn't show Jen leaving or saying that she's going to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden she's out of the scene or she comes back in randomly, we as the audience would be like, wait, where did Jen go? Or like, did they cut this weird? We'd start to kind of distrust what we're watching on screen. So they do kind of have to let us know as the audience, like, where the players are at all times. Remember, they only have 42, 43 minutes to play with, so every single word counts and matters, but something like that, someone saying they have to go to the bathroom, especially because it has sort of a double meaning, is important to leave in.
Heard that she is in fact a whore.
I said there are rumors out there that pertain to that exact word. That is correct. What if Lisa's a whore?
I don't care. I'm wearing lingerie.
What if Lisa does blowjobs for Vita tequila orders?
Okay, so as soon as Heather moves into this, the music gets a little bit like it's ramping up, like a train on the tracks.
Am I missing?
Do you still want to be friends?
Where are we headed to now? That's what we should all be feeling like. Okay, so Heather's kind of coming into Whitney like, why is this a big deal? That's basically what Heather's saying. So what about these rumors? Like so what from any of us? Why do we even care of what's going on? Which we know is going to cause conflict in Whitney because she's like stressing.
Am I missing?
Do you still want to be friends with Lisa? Okay. I'd give a blowjob for a burger. I mean, I don't know. My bar's pretty low.
I love you.
So they take the music out right before she says that funny line.
I give a blowjob for a burger.
She says, my bar is pretty low. There's like this rattlesnake kind of like, it's almost like a clown sound.
My bar's pretty low.
It emphasizes like a silly point, a funny point. It's just kind of a clowning thing.
I love you. I love myself too. I'm going to bed. I know what's good for me. I'm going to bed.
I am just sick of it, like being rolled under the bus, because
But nobody threw you under the bus.
So again, we have to know what Lisa's doing, right? So Jen had gone to the bathroom. Now Lisa says,
I love you. I love myself too.
Such a perfect Lisa Barlow line in general. But again, we need to know kind of where all the players are. Lisa's going to bed, Jen's in the bathroom, and Lisa's done.
But nobody threw you under the bus.
You did.
I didn't. All I did was clear up because Heather was saying that it was something I said.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know.
You owned it.
Because you had never
and
told
she
me.
misunderstood.
So I thought Meredith had told you.
I have told you
I thought-
everything, Heather.
Okay, so now we start to unravel as Whitney feels like now that, you know, Heather's saying stuff to her, like this is just a cluster F. I really give the editors props for trying to make this all make sense and trying to anchor us at least with certain characters like Meredith saying what's going on, Jen being like, I'm out of here going to the bathroom. They're trying to anchor us, but still this is such a mess of a fight. Everyone's overserved. No one can really follow their own train of thought. And it just, for the audience, for us, it feels dramatic, but it just is not, it's not catching us the way that, you know, they would hope. They're doing their very best though.
We were at the jazz game with Angie.
And you said that's who Lisa's
I
the guy
didn't
in
say
her
it.
seats?
You sat in the front 2 seats on New Year's Eve with Angie. Angie.
Okay, so they show that picture to kind of give Whitney a receipt, like you were there, this happened. And then they have this music in there that's sort of the suspenseful music to make us feel like new information is going to be unveiled, so we wait.
Angie told us that John,
Wait, that
Barlow, and Lisa have those tickets because Lisa sleeps with. That's how I heard it, and you were there.
I did
you
not
were
hear it.
there.
I would tell you. It's a lie. If I knew it, I would.
Okay, so after she says it's a lie, we hear that knife sharpening sound.
It's a lie.
They cut a long pause in there where Whitney's looking at her. We cut to Jen coming down the hall, almost like, oh gosh, Jen's walking into something serious right now. We cut back to Heather and she's standing up at this point. So we're definitely heightening this moment. There's definitely some heightening going on, a little bit more drama, a little bit more information. We can tell it's about to pop off between Whitney and Heather. Let's keep watching.
I have never heard it. You don't think I would love that information on her?
You are lying right now.
Tell me how.
Because I stood courtside at the jazz game with Angie, and she told us that.
I sat next to Angie and Chris, so you were 2 rows back on the other side. When did she say?
Okay, so as they're kind of having this blow up fight, Meredith and Jen having like a small conversation underneath that, but they turn their mics way down. I think Meredith asked Jen, like, did you see Lisa or something like that? That's not the main focus of this scene, so they turn those mics down so we barely can hear them talking.
Oh, when we were walking off and taking a selfie, and she goes, that's who Lisa sleeps with for the jazz tickets.
Wait, what? Well, guess what? I didn't hear that nugget. If I had, I would have too, because I love sitting.
One of my favorite Heather lines, it reminds me of this part in The Wedding Singer.
Every weekend doing wedding gigs at a whopping $60 a pop?
Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
That's a deep cut, but maybe some of you who are my age would understand if you've seen that movie 1,000 times like I have. Anyway, I just love that. And I love that Jen is also like, they're leaving in a part of Jen being like, wait, what happened? Like, what did I miss?
Too, because I love sitting courtside. You for calling me a liar.
You called me a liar.
God damn you. You!
Me, please. I'd love to be.
Okay, so that's it. So basically, you know, they have Heather walking out, she's screaming, the music is crescendo, 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 and then after she says that big F you at the end,
You!
Get this giant like hit at the end, and then a little comical line from Whitney, and then to be continued. So it's building drama. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely didn't leave this scene being like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until next week. If you guys felt the same way, popsicle for dessert type of vibe, you are not alone. I am right there with you. Drama needs to have weight to it. This is my opinion. It's like watching a movie or something like that where some really big moment is heightened. It's supposed to make you feel something because of what's going on in the music and all this stuff. But if you don't care about the characters and you don't care about what they're after or what their motivation is or really anything about their life at that moment, it could be anything. It could be the most dramatic thing and the most dramatic sequence in the world, and you're just not going to care that much. And that's kind of how I feel about the situation. I believe the thing that we walk away with the most out of this episode right here is that Whitney is a bit unhinged. That's the character development that we get from this scene. We don't get a ton of plot. We don't get a ton of like storyline moving forward, except that Heather and Whitney are at odds. But honestly, in my mind, I'm like, they're at odds because Whitney's unhinged. So that was my take. I would love to hear your guys' take. Thank you for recommending that I do this scene. I'm glad I got to do it. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking the videos and all of your classy comments. I just cannot thank you guys enough. And until next time.
Things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!